Hello, hello, guys. Welcome. Happy Tuesday night to you. This is kind of an impromptu video this evening. Very, very good news. We just got a little while ago today out of the Senate. Guess what's resurrected? The parental rights bill, the wonderful bill that Senator Lee out of the Education Committee put up last year that the House didn't get to take up because they thought it would be vetoed by Cooper. And they're probably right. But I'm going to go over the bill with you live. This is the first time I'm really getting a full read through on this bill, but I believe it's going to contain some of the things that were in the previous bill last year, which is, giving parents the right and the discretion to control what their kids learn in the classroom. So let's go over this. Child, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the parent has the right to the following. And really, I think this is just a recitation of what the Constitution already provides for here in this state: to direct the education, to access all of the, educational files. And here's the thing, number 5, section 5, read this, guys: to make healthcare decisions for his or her child unless otherwise provided by law. Okay. That would be exceptions of, let's say the kid was in foster care, or God forbid, the parents were abusing the child, stuff like that. Okay. But number 5, very important, with the infusion of school psychologists and clinical healthcare teams into the schools, we've got to have this. Okay. And here again, number 6, to access and review all medical records. That should go without saying, but in some schools, it doesn't. I'm sure that most school authorities err on the side of transparency. There are some that do not, and that can have a catastrophic outcome. Okay. To prohibit the creation or sharing biometric scams, if they do a blood test or DNA samples, things like that. So that's a big deal. Again, should go without saying. Doesn't always. You can't make a video of a child and share it unless there's certain, criteria met. And this is a big deal, number 10, to be promptly notified if an employee of the state suspects that a criminal offense has been committed against his or her child, unless it's been reported to the authorities. We here in the last year, unfortunately, have heard of about a half dozen cases from across the state where a child is assaulted, for instance. It's unfortunate, but the parents are often the last to know, and the child can be, pretty injured. And so, this is a good step in the right direction. It depends on how we'll go on in the bill. It depends on how this is going to be enforced. There's got to be some teeth, some accountability to this bill. But number 10, again, should go without saying. Unfortunately, a lot of things nowadays go without saying, and darn if it isn't happening. Okay. Limitations on the right of the parents. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be obviously abusing your kid and, things like that. Absolutely, goes without saying. Okay, here's a big one. An employee who encourages, coerces, or attempts to encourage a child to withhold information from the parent can be subject to disciplinary action. This is a big deal with these secretive gender support plans. I don't know if that is put into the target of this bill or not, but it certainly seems that way, where a guidance counselor, I'm just giving you a what if, goes and says to the kid, we're going to have this, our little secret. You can change your air quote gender. Won't tell the parents. Don't tell the parents. That kind of thing should go without saying. Again, that's the issue. Okay. So it's just saying here, a kid under 18 years of age, the age of consent, that's kind of how they're defining all of this. A parent should be, this is 115C-76.5. See this? Again, just reiterating what the Constitution already lays out there. And the General Assembly finds that parental involvement and empowerment, that's the key to the successful education of students. To strengthen, and this should be the aim of all goals here, to strengthen the relationship between the teacher, the principal, the parents. That's in the best interest of each child. Just another, for instance, these secretive gender support plans. Those are the kind of things that erode the trust that is between the child and the parent. Now, the secretive gender support plans, again, North Carolina School Psychologists Association promotes being secretive with the parents. Cannot have that. Okay. So this bill is saying, look, every PSU, every school, every system is going to have to not take these things for granted anymore. Somewhere on the website of the school, or hopefully in the website and in outreach, each school will have to enumerate the rights of the parent. That's really important, because even, parents who are very well involved in the process, they don't know, for instance, that they have a right to speak out at the school board. They don't know what the rules are, the parameters are. And you can see that a lot of working parents, or maybe single parent households, they would be less informed of their rights. So the bill is saying, look, you school, every PSU has the duty to really educate the parent about what their rights are. That's what we want. Okay, legal right of education. Okay, this is already on the books. A parent can say, we're not going to have our child participate in these classes held at these times. Of course, we know that with social emotional learning in particular, that is embedded in all 12 academic subjects. And theoretically, that's a black box that a teacher can, or a district can, insert gender ideology. That's on the DPI's website, where teaching identity is one of the core constructs of SEL, right? And so we'll probably get later on into the bill where the bill will acknowledge, hey, parents don't have to put up with this crap either. Okay, a right to say, hey, I don't want my kid taking the jab because it's against my religion. Okay, fine, good. You can review the test. Again, this is, you can have your kid evaluated either for an IEP, which is a learning status on one end, or AIG, which is on the other, the gifted classes, right? You have a right to do that, and this is important. A lot of times that isn't done. Not out of maliciousness, but the schools are not equipped a lot of times to do that. So if they were hiring social workers to do things like evaluations, and school psychologists to do that, and that was just their job, nobody would have any qualms, because children who are dyslexic or have dyscalculia or other issues, that needs to be addressed and accounted for. And on the other hand, if kids aren't challenged enough, but social workers in the schools are being told, according to the DPI website, that they must engage in social justice. So that's what we have the qualm with. So again, this is just reiterating that, hey, students have the right to be evaluated. Okay, so receive report cards. Okay, yes, of course. I don't think that's a problem that I've heard at all. The right to participate in parent-teacher organizations, yes. Okay, so the right to opt out of certain data collection for their kids. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. Hopefully, that means panorama surveys. I know that a lot of parents really don't feel like they've been notified in a timely fashion of these surveys. That we could do a little bit better on, for sure. Again, they're going to have to make these rights available, and instead of parents having to search on multiple different government agency websites to find out their rights, it's going to need to be required to be all in one centralized location. Student achievement, the State's Board of Education, minimum requirements for public school units. Okay. Just grade progressions, qualifications of the teachers. Okay, great. Yep, family literacy, tutoring. These are the services available for parents. Again, we have always argued that needs to be made clearer when those services are available in a district. it needs to be a little bit more clear to the parents on how to access that, those services. Educational choices. Okay. This is really along the lines of just a recodification of the rights that are already out there and just enumerating them in this bill. Okay. Okay. So really just transparency, communication, just like we've said. Parental involvement. This is wonderful. So policies that would enhance parents' ability to, if they wanted to, of course, partner with the schools. Community services, that's fine. Parenting classes, if parents so choose. Again, erring on the side of bringing parents into the fold rather than icing them out. Whether or not that's the intent, we don't know, but just making that abundantly clear. Look, what we're talking about here in this bill will enhance the trust that's between, again, the principal, the teachers, the support staff, and the parents. Once parents feel like they're a welcome part of the equation, the trust issue that's been bubbling over for the last 2 years, hopefully that's going to start to resolve itself. And I think that this part of the bill that we're seeing now is trying to enhance that, trying to make that happen. Okay, establish a means for parents to object to textbooks and supplementary instructional materials consistent with the requirements of, and we'll have a full report tomorrow, but that makes sense. This is a big deal. We know this is Section 5. Look, establish a process for parents to review materials for and consent to or withhold reproductive health and safety education programs consistent with the requirements. Look, if you're going to have, or a school is going to have, in math, for instance, where they're going to be teaching about gender identity, and don't laugh because it's happening. Parents should know well ahead of that, hey, next month, we're going to be teaching algebra and gender identity, right? Don't just stick it in the social emotional learning. Let parents know, bring them into the fold. Timelines. Okay. Let's see. 10 days. Okay. So in other words, if you ask, hey, Mr. Brown, can you give me a schedule when you're going to be teaching this? It looks to me that that's going to be 10 days and no later than 20. Okay. It seems that parents may have the right to take legal action. And that's what we've always asked for, is that, look, it's going to be hard to police this. Parents have to have the right to police it. And to do that, you're going to need something with teeth. And that means, as a last resort, parents are going to have the right to sue. I mean, yeah, they're just going to have the right to hold schools accountable as a means of last resort. Okay, here we go. Mental health. All right. At the beginning of school year, and this is, I believe, part of Keith Kidwell's bill. He also wrote an excellent bill and issued it last session. And this is part of that. Every healthcare service is offered at the child's school. You have to consent first. I'm going to tell you guys this, and I want you to tell 10 of your friends. In North Carolina, the age of consent is 0 for mental health services. That means, figuratively, a kid could be 5 years old and consent to his or her own therapy for ADD. California, by means of comparison, 12 years old. And almost everywhere in the country, but the mean age is 16. North Carolina, it is 0. We have to have either the statutes have to change, or this bill has to pass. Ideally, both of them, right? Okay, so every healthcare service, you're going to have to opt into it. Okay, you're going to have to opt into it.